À chaque année, je fais mon don à la Société canadienne de cancer. C'est une organisation qui me touche beaucoup. My mom went to the hospital in March 2005 for leg pain, but she never got out because she was diagnosed with colon cancer, so she passed away 3 months later. I also lost one sister to colon cancer in 2006, my dad to prostate cancer in 2009, and another sister to thyroid cancer in 2010. Very hard to continue with my life when a big part of me is missing, especially because my parents never taught me how to live without them. La Société canadienne de cancer m'a offert beaucoup de support en utilisant leur comité en ligne, parlonscancer.ca. J'ai pu lire des articles qui m'ont donné de l'information sur le cancer, aussi sur des histoires vécues. Comme ça, j'ai pu comparer que c'est pas juste moi qui passe à travers de ça. Ça m'a aidé à passer à travers de ce moment. So each donation makes a difference in the life of a person close to you.
Mon nom est Gérald Cossette. Je donne parce que j'ai beaucoup reçu dans le passé. Je viens d'une grande famille ouvrière et beaucoup des activités auxquelles j'ai participé quand j'étais plus jeune ont été financées par soit des tantes, des oncles ou des grandes sœurs. Par conséquent, donner pour moi, ce n'est que le retour du balancier. I also work with a voluntary organization called EBO Educational Center, and it's a small organization that provide budgetary advice to low-income families. So we help them make their budget, we help them file their income tax return, and we also provide a microloan to people who need some money to bridge basically their financial capability from one pay to another. And I do subscribe on an annual basis, and I've been doing that for years, to the United Way campaign, which I find a very worthwhile cause. So thank you, and please give generously.
Almost 3 years ago to this very day, I almost lost my life at this very spot here on Preston when I was doored by an unaware motorist that I was coming up beside him, and he opened his door in my path, and I flipped into rush hour traffic on Preston, but managed to survive to tell the tale. I walked away from the crash, but it became evident a few days later while I was at work that I had suffered a traumatic brain injury. I was suffering from light sensitivity, I was dizzy, people didn't understand what I was saying. And so began 3 years of treatments, symptoms, part-time work, riding the front of the bus, and just living in general with an invisible disability. It was a bit of an eye-opener for me because, you know, it's just natural for people to assume you're fine. They judge you if you're doing certain things, but for me, I had no control over certain things that I was doing. After about a year, the prognosis wasn't good. I was told that essentially at this point, any recovery that I'd done would be as far as I'd get, with a slim chance of getting all the way back to where I was before. But here we are 3 years later, and I've proven them wrong. I'm speaking to you with a little bit of difficulty, but not as much as I would have a year ago. And I'm starting to resume some of my normal activities once again. Along the way, I've been introduced to a lot of people who have supported me and inspired me. And as a show of thanks, I'm paying it forward by directing a portion of my monthly donation to Pathways for Independence. They're an organization that supports individuals with traumatic brain injuries in their daily reintegration back into life. I only hope that I can pass along a fraction of the support and inspiration that I've received.
Charities have been a huge blessing. Like many others, my family's been touched by cancer. In 2005, my aunt was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she fought for 3 years until 2008. My father was also diagnosed with cancer in 2006 for multiple myeloma, bone marrow cancer, and again in 2015 with stage 4 prostate cancer. He fought valiantly for 9 years before passing away in 2015. The Cancer Society funds the Cancer Center at the Ottawa General Hospital, and the doctors and staff there are amazing. They provided all kinds of resources for information, and they provided the cancer treatments as well for both my aunt and my father. If it wasn't for the advancements in the research that they've done there, my father would not have been able to fight for as long as he did, and we wouldn't have had the chance to patch things up between us, which is invaluable. But outside of illnesses, charities continue to bless my family. I have an older brother, Jason, who is a lower functioning Down syndrome, which means that he's mentally around 4 to 6 years old. He also requires almost constant supervision. I try to watch him as often as I can to give my mom a break, but it can still be kind of difficult sometimes. Through the charity March of Dimes, my mother gets a yearly bursary to pay friends and family to take my brother out, either for respite for my mom or for personal development for my brother. When donating to these organizations, it's important to remember that you're not just helping the organization, you're also helping the families that have someone affected by any number of illnesses or conditions, and those families can be closer than you think.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Bernard Gagné et je suis gestionnaire de l'unité de gestion de relations dans le secteur de conformité. Je suis aussi un motocycliste déterminé depuis l'âge de 12 ans. Alors le 30 août dernier, 2016, j'ai eu un accident de la route. Je rentrais du bureau et une mini-fourgonnette a décidé de sauver quelques minutes et m'a forcé à la percuter en ce qu'on appelle un T-bone. La vitesse n'est pas en cause et j'ai 0% de responsabilité, je tiens à dire. L'impact fut tel que j'ai resté inconscient pendant plus de 24 heures et maintenant le dommage le plus visible est une fatigue cognitive et un manque d'énergie et aussi, comme vous l'entendez, un problème de langage. Après l'accident, je dormais peut-être 24 heures sur 24 et maintenant ça l'a graduellement amélioré et je crois être de retour au travail au 1er août 2017, soit un an après l'accident, un retour complet. Au travail, avec le soutien de l'employeur, j'ai commencé à retravailler progressivement au début mars et maintenant j'aurai retrouvé mon équipe et ma gestion. Et j'en suis très heureux au 1er août. Je suis quelqu'un qui n'avait jamais utilisé ou à peu près jamais utilisé les services de santé et on peut dire que ces derniers ont eu leur revanche. Et j'ai maintenant utilisé, on peut dire, évidemment l'ambulance, les policiers, à peu près tout le personnel de l'hôpital d'Ottawa en trauma et après ça ce qui s'appelle le centre de réhabilitation d'Ottawa qui est un endroit qui fait réfléchir beaucoup, et tous les thérapeutes, ergothérapie, ainsi de suite, qui ont aidé à ma réhabilitation. Pour quelqu'un qui n'avait jamais utilisé ce service, je dois dire que maintenant, ça m'a fait réfléchir et je crois maintenant que personne n'est à l'abri de telles utilités.
Huntington's disease has always been a huge part of who I am. It's a hereditary brain disease that kills your brain cells. Usually hits you at the prime of your life, right when you've started your career or maybe even a family. They say it's like having Parkinson's, ALS, and dementia all at the same time. The disease is long and slow. Eventually you need a walker, a wheelchair, you become incontinent, you need a feeding tube. There is no cure. My mom was 54 the day she died, and she was really just a shell of the person that we knew. Because my mom had Huntington's disease, I had a 50-50 chance of getting it too. That's the cruel way this disease works. Someone somewhere flips a coin and you either get it or you don't. My parents, they had 4 daughters. I spent my whole life not wanting to be tested because once you find out, there's nothing you can do. But looking back on it now, I know it was just fear, plain and simple. I buried my head in the sand for a long time. So in 2012, I finally decided it was time. It's a simple blood test. You can get the results in as little as 4 weeks. But I actually waited a whole year before I went back to get them, just because I wasn't quite ready. The morning of, I woke up nice and early. I went for a run. It was a beautiful sunny day, and I had made peace with the fact that I had it. But then all of a sudden, I just had this thought creep into my head: what if I don't? And that was pretty scary for me, mostly because I spent my whole life telling myself that I did. And I remember waiting to get my results, knowing that the doctor and genetic counselor literally look at them moments before you do. And they're either going to tell you that you have it or you don't, and that's it. Well, I remember seeing them going into an office before my appointment, and moments later they came out laughing and smiling, and it was then in my heart that I knew I didn't have it. And I was right. I went into the room, and all she said was, "It's good news." This was pretty huge news in my family. I was the first daughter not to have it. My 2 older sisters have it. But I found it incredibly traumatic. How was I supposed to look my sisters in the eye and celebrate the fact that I get to live and they don't? I just remember thinking that I wanted to trade places with them because I was prepared for a positive result and they weren't. And I think anybody with half a heart would feel the same way. It's been 4 years since I got a negative result, and I don't think my heart will ever fully heal from that. My story is 2 parts, really. Raising awareness for an incredible organization, the Huntington Society of Canada, which is one of the GCWCC's health partners. They've been incredible to my family over the years, not only throughout the testing process, but just getting us through life in general. But another big piece of my story is time. After I got my test results, volunteering became something that was very important for me. Like most people, I don't have a lot of money, but I know now that I have time, and sometimes that's all people really need.